counted down and everything.
We did. So my name is Matt Gibson. I'm the host of the Kingdom of Rock podcast, and I'm here today with my friends Michael Molenda and Keith St. John, and we're here to talk about COVID-19 and the music business. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves? Start with Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael Molenda. Used to be editor of Guitar Player magazine for 1,000 years. Just started a Guardians of Guitar thing, and I still play. Well, I used to play around the Bay Area until a few months ago. So, hi, everybody.
Hey, what's up, Michael? Good to see you, man.
What's up, Michael?
I missed you this year at Ronnie Montrose Remembered.
I know. Sorry about that.
That's all right, man. Hey, guys, I'm Keith St. John. I play with a few different bands these days. I'm touring with a band called Kingdom Come. We're obviously on hiatus right now, and another band called Burning Rain. And we're just we're doing what all bands are doing right now, is looking for things to do and seeing if we can get back in the studio or do a home studio thing and try to get some ideas together for a new record or what we can do during these times. And just long story short, that's what I do when I'm at home and I'm not out on some festival. I'm playing a Southern California kind of local gig. All those gigs are closed down. All the touring gigs are closed down. Of course, the festivals in the other countries were the first things to go down. So, I'm enjoying a little bit of time off right now. It's kind of calm, but some time's going to go by, and we got to patch life up a little bit, as a lot of other folks do. It's not just musicians. It's not just us. It's a lot of folks. Probably the majority.
Yeah, it's interesting. We think, well, okay, we got some downtime. We should write songs. We should go in the studio. But Keith or Matt, have you guys found it difficult to go in the studio? Because a lot of studios don't want us in there right now either. And it's not exactly easy for everybody to collaborate by sending WAV files back and forth either. So have you guys figured that out?
Well, technology has been helping us. And I got to say, over the last couple of years, I've been lucky and gotten some work recording with other projects and bands and stuff, strictly via the internet. Mm-hmm. And, I've got a small but adequate little studio set up at my place that, at least as a vocalist and an occasional guitar player, keyboard player kind of guy, I'm able to do enough work to get some of that stuff done. None of us have a magic wand. We can't change the work schedule and say, hey, man, I wish I could get 5 calls right now to do these kind of projects. That would be great.
You have a great voice, so would it make sense for you to put out somewhere that, hey, I'm available, I've got 4 or 6 weeks available, send me your song, blah, blah, blah? Or is that a little too dorky?
You can say anything and make it smooth if you say it right,
Yeah.
But I feel like, the people that it would apply to for me the easiest, I've already kind of reached out to, and I didn't wait till it hit in the U.S. and everyone started kind of freaking out here. I was already thinking about it, mm-hmm. like a month ago, and when people in bigger bands than mine were canceling their tours. I have a lot of buddies. My buddy Kevin from the band Lit, who lives right down here in Orange County. I mean, his stuff started getting canceled. The Whitesnake guys, I mean, they were one of the first bands to say, we're sorry, guys, we're canceling our whole tour and until further notice for this year. And that kind of stuff let me know, all right, I've got all these dates on the map, but let's be smart here. Whitesnake is canceling their tour. Mm-hmm. My stuff at Sweden Rock and the other Euro festivals, that's going away. So and I'm sure it is for this year, and maybe we'll do it next year. But I'm sorry, I'm getting away from your question. I mean, in answer to that, yeah, everybody needs to figure out how to just get out there and communicate as best as they can with what they got. What do I have? What can I do that that I can offer people that I'm not just asking people for charity. That actually is work that I would be doing that could be that I could do more of that kind of work right now, mm-hmm. as opposed to a lot of these live dates which I was planning on doing. That's pretty much it. It's a question of what you can ask yourself. Maybe you're a guitar player in a big band or whatever, but maybe you went to school for, engineering or something, and you don't really want to do that. You decided not to do that a long time ago, but maybe you can use that resource and do some moonlighting now, or just be creative. I think we're all just creative and have a que sera kind of attitude. We'll all be okay. The universe has a way of working things out, for everybody, as long as you keep yourself open and keep your mind open to new possibilities. I think that's the best thing we can all do.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, and Matt, maybe you can talk to this because you're kind of a marketing genius dude. He's got a great voice. There's a lot of guitar players. Maybe the peeps in Whitesnake or whatever. Maybe Steve Lukather sitting around at home wishing he was on a session, and maybe a kid hits him up, and for a few bucks he'll actually play a solo for you. But how do we effectively get that word out if that's something we even want to do? Because I think there's a lot of amazing players who might be into sharing their talents with people they would never share them before, just because what are you going to do? You could play on a session and make some money, or you could do nothing for 2 months,
Well, I think right here, what we're doing right now is a great way to get the word out, because we're all just people, right? We're not anybody that special. We just have decided to take this path in life and in the entertainment business and producing music and what have you. I'm kind of new to it. I did 20 years in the military, and then I just moved to LA to do it, and I'm going to turn 50 in June. So, I have a career behind me that I get some income from, retired military and stuff and benefits. So I'm kind of not that nerve-wracked about things. Although if the economy really tanks and the government goes with it, that could be a problem, right? So, and we'll all be looking for chickens out in the woods to eat, that could happen, but I'm not to cause a panic. I don't think that's going to happen, but so I can't really speak from a personal level financially, but what I will say is that whenever you've got a lot of people at home, you got a lot of people on the internet. And even to the point where Facebook is talking about we can't necessarily handle what's happening. It's a lot of traffic, right? Internet providers, my internet provider just emailed me today to tell me that they're not going to charge for overage of bandwidth on my websites. Everyone is preparing for the blitzkrieg of everyone's at home. And just like Bob Hope used to say, if you guys are old enough to know who Bob Hope was, go where the eyeballs are, right? So right now, everyone's at home, and as the day goes by and more days at home, they're going to get more bored, and they want more content, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm creating content, and I'm bringing in my friends that are also creating content. So now you guys can go take this stream right here, and the video will be done, and then you could post it to your fans, cut little snippets out where you say really cool stuff and your hair looks right and all that stuff, as us artists, right? But it's
Michael.
Michael's a diva.
It's got that perfect angle on the hair.
That's right. But so really, right now is the time to get attention, right? Right now, and so you can do live stream playing. Like you could set up I have my recording studio set up right now where I can just start, turn on my laptop, and I've got Logic on here, and I can play my whole Logic session, in stereo right into the recording here. I can make videos, and then you share those out to your people on social media, send it via email lists or text messages or whatever you got. And then when people start to see your content coming out, let's say Slash is at home and he's like, man, I got to find something to do with myself. I'm going crazy waiting for this thing to pass, with this virus, and the tours are all canceled, so he's like, what am I going to do with my time? Go do live streams. Go get on interviews. Get on podcasts. Get out there as much as you can. Tell them what's going on. And look, you don't have to beg for money as an artist. People love art. They love supporting artists. But I will say this. Every book I've ever read on sales, every book that I've ever read on marketing says you got to ask. You got to let people know. But, of course, everyone knows also. But some people assume, hey, you know, you've played in front of 10,000 people, 20,000 people. I mean, I've never played in front of that big audience. Keith, you probably have, right? You played in front of some pretty big audiences. People assume, like, maybe you're driving, like, a Ferrari and, you know, towing a Lamborghini behind it or something, you know? I don't know. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. But, like, it's like everyone knows that we're struggling as artists out here, and the venues are all closed in LA. No bars, no music venues, restaurants are only carry out. So, like, everyone knows, but you got to ask them. And so this is a way to do that. This is a way to tell them, hey, here we are. We're going to give you content. We're going to do things for you guys to keep you entertained and talk about the music business. We can share some of our experiences, tell stories, whatever. You know, that's a long way of saying it. But, yeah. So get out there where the eyeballs are.
You're backing up a little bit, Matt. You know, I've never been the biggest techie in the world, and I could say, at least for myself, when you mentioned, hey man, you know, just hook your stuff up to the computer and, you know, start broadcasting live streams. I think, you know, what would be really helpful for a lot of music cats right now is to actually understand how to do that. I mean, it sounds simple, it looks simple when you read it, you read an article on it, and then you go to do it. There seems to be a little bit more to it, or trying to find the right host or the right server or whatever, which is stuff that a lot of cats don't really, you know, that it's not an area they get into that much because, you know.
Well, I think that's an excellent point. Maybe if there's, I mean, I imagine there's going to be a couple of good things come out of this, and I think to your point, Keith, this could be one of them, because, you know, me as a journalist and a musician, I'm constantly amazed by how little so many musicians do to let people know they exist. I mean, we all know bands where they don't have a decent Facebook page, or they have a Facebook page with crappy stuff on it, or they're not, you know, they're just not utilizing technology at all, or realizing that, just like when you're on stage, you know, as a seasoned performer, you have to assume that people are looking at you every single second you're on stage. So you have to be your huge rock persona every single second you're performing. And I think it's the same thing with Facebook or YouTube videos or Twitter or whatever. People put stuff up where they may not look that good, or the song's out of tune, or, I mean, it's like, oh, I got to do this, I'll just throw something up. No, you don't throw something up. You have a brand that you have to protect, and that brand has to show some level of quality or some level of attitude or vibe that a public's going to want to get into. So I think, yeah, learn this stuff, but not only learn how to do it, but learn how to present yourself as a brand, because just being, you know, you sitting in a Hawaiian shirt and, you know, bad shorts in your garage strumming an out-of-tune guitar is not going to build an audience for you.
You know, all shorts are bad shorts in rock and roll, Michael. But I mean, you already added the Hawaiian shirt, so which I have one back over there somewhere. But
well, you would look cool in anything, but not everybody. Everybody would be that way.
That's the thing, you know. And if you have an artist mind and you're the kind of person that writes songs and thinks about art a lot, yes, you're all the time, all throughout the year, you're saying, yeah, I'm going to update this website. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. When you sit down, you find this cool piece of music that you forgot about, or this picture, and you're distracted. That's how artists are, man. They're distracted. And organizing their brand is hard for them to do on their own. It just is most of the time. I mean, I feel like I procrastinated websites for, like, you know, 10 years. And I'm sure there's other people out there that feel the same way. And it would be great to get a guide to simply, you know, a simple set of steps to start getting on, especially right now with what's going on with this situation, you know, to be able to do what you're doing, Matt, and get on there, not, you know, maybe not to do a show with guests, but to at least be able to get out there and, you know, have a way to present new art to the world, whether it's, you know, I'm going to demo this out to my fan base, my social media fan base, and then see, you know, if a lot of people encourage me, you know, maybe then I'll do a GoFundMe and it's time to make a new record or whatnot. I mean, I think these are things that people are thinking about and probably are struggling to figure out exactly how to organize.
Well, let me to speak to that. My favorite author, my favorite business mentor is Grant Cardone. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him before. He wrote a book called The 10X Rule. He flies around with a jet that says 10X on the back of it. He's like a billionaire. And I had him on my show one time, and I asked him, I said, you know, why are artists starving, Grant? You know, and I was like, you got $1 billion. Like, why do you have $1 billion? He's like, well, you know, and we just talked about it for a while, but ultimately I came to the conclusion, you know, artists try to attract things. They try to attract money because that's what they're essentially. If you read Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, or The Art of Seduction, or whatever, artists are kind of like seductive people. We seduce people to come check us out. We like attention, or we like expressing ourselves, or whatever. We're doing things to kind of emote our art, and then when nobody comes, we're like hurt, right? But the truth is, he said, you know, artists don't have a lot of money and they're starving because they try to attract money instead of collecting money. What a record label used to do for us is they were the bad guys. They were the bad cops. They went out and like beat up people for money. And they shook people down for the money. They went out after the money. And, you know, of course, they took all the artist money too. But, you know, it's like, it's the same way with attention. It's the same way with all the things that we need as an artist. You gotta go get it. And if you don't go get it, you're not gonna have it. And so I guess what I'm saying is like, we have good intentions as artists, and the hardest thing in the world for me, I spent 20 years in the military. I was an aircraft mechanic, and I did music kind of on the side, and then I started taking lessons online from George Lynch from Dawkins, and when he had a little online guitar school, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go for it, you know. And so but as I started to go for it, I figured out the social media marketing. I got a bunch of followers on Google Plus and got a bunch of endorsements and stuff. And then I did get my album done. But as I kind of started to move forward, I realized that there was a problem, that when you, like Keith is saying, when you do art and you also do business and you also do marketing and you also do finances and you also do taxes and it just fries your brain. It's like melts your brain. It's hard to do everything. So like, you've got to have people around you to do that for you, or you got to get super organized, or you're not going to have it. It's just gonna fall apart. And you know, like, I think the people like the idea of the record label because supposedly the record label would do that for you, but they didn't ever do a good job at it unless you were super famous. You know, like
I mean, as someone who was, you know, it pains me to say this, but as someone who was around in the 70s making music, you know, yeah, the record companies were problematic. What they did do is they had a distribution system that it would get you out there, and they would, as you say, you know, beat up, you know, radio stations to play you, beat up record stores, blah blah blah. So that was good. And yes, an artist could just say, I'm just gonna write music, or have a lot of sex, or take a lot of drugs, write music, have a lot of sex, take a lot of drugs, you know, or be really focused on the business side, or a combination of the two. That's not the way things are anymore. You know, I think some of the bigger labels still have access to those distribution keys that most of us don't, even though, you know, we have to pay the lie to the fact that the, you know, internet can make us all stars. That's not necessarily true. But I mean, I know a lot of people that I kind of came up with who are still active, and you know, hey, it sucks that we don't have managers or publicists or a record company or a marketing team like the record companies provided us. But that's just the way it is right now. If we're going to be successful artists, we have to be all those things, including an artist. And that's a lot harder than it was in the 70s or the 80s or even the 90s. But that's just the way things are now. So I think as an artist, you have to say, you know, not for everyone, because there will be people who will have help. But if you don't have help, what do? Just quit and say, I'm not going to play, I'm not going to create. But if you have to create, you also have to say, I'm going to have to be a marketing person. I'm going to have to be a business person. I'm going to have to do my own PR. I'm going to have, as Keith said, I'm going to have to learn this technology because I might have to do my own records, and I might have to put my own records out there, my own music out there. So, I mean, this is a little bit off the COVID-19 thing, but it's also running parallel to it, because if you're an artist who is not getting stuff done, now's the time to learn how to get stuff done. Does that make sense?
That's the point, really. That's tying in everything we said, really. I mean, that, you know, the artist side is one side of the brain. The organizational craftsman side is the other side of the brain. And to bounce back and forth, as Matt said earlier, is totally exhausting. If you're trying to do both sides of those, that'll beat you up more than, you know, staying up 24/7 just to do one of them.
It's not easy. That's for sure. Yeah, I agree. You know.
So yeah, I mean, that's a wake up call, you know, for a lot of people. A lot of stuff you've been procrastinating on as an artist, as a musician for a long time, which is probably a lot of this technical stuff. Now is the time to finally hunker down and get it done. And maybe it'll be all the best, you know, it'll be the best thing that ever happened to a lot of people, because they'll finally get, you know, that's visibility that they should have. And we got somebody new coming along.
We got my friend Tim Stewart. How's it going, Tim?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Hey, Tim.
Good.
Hey,
Good, brother.
Sorry for the late arrival. I'm kind of running around.
You evened out the screen into 4 rather than 3, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, Michael was hogging all the spotlight in the middle.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you know.
Now we're like the Hollywood Squares or something.
That's
Before
right.
we were like the Brady Bunch. Now
Brady Bunch.
we just need somebody in the middle. I think that was that Paul Lynn? Somebody.
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody with a good sense of humor.
So Tim, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Do you know Keith?
No.
Keith St. John, Montrose, and he's on tour with Kingdom Come right now. And Michael Molenda, guitar player, magazine editor.
Good to meet you guys, man.
Good to see you, Tim.
Yeah, definitely.
Tim, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Just a Los Angeles-based musician, guitar player, touring and sessions, the whole deal, you know.
Played with a few cool people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, I've been working for Lady Gaga for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And different pop artists and punk rock and all kind of stuff, you know.
You did a little American Idol.
Touring with Lady Gaga?
Yeah, I've been with her since 2011.
What do you play?
Guitar.
Guitar. You know Ann King, horn player?
Ann King.
Just did a few tours with Lady Gaga back in the day, but yeah, I've run into her in some sessions around town.
Okay.
Anyway, great horn player.
Oh yeah.
Tim, so how are you being affected by the COVID-19 virus? We were kind of talking about what artists could be doing right now with their time, marketing wise, and taking advantage of all the eyeballs. You know, people are at home checking out the internet. Artists aren't on tour. They're not out playing. They can't even go. Michael is even saying it's hard to get in the studio right now. So what are you experiencing out there?
For me, you know, I had a pretty full year lined up. I still am unsure what's going to happen in terms of the Gaga tour. But I do American Idol as well, but the TV show.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much at this point postponing some things as far as we're concerned. So I don't know if how that's gonna pan out. It's just a lot of uncertainty, you know. But that's from a work perspective. I mean, I kind of am. It's funny. Someone was saying like the quarantine. I think the majority of my life is kind of a quarantine. I'm usually
Hmm.
in my little studio, like, you know, making music, doing that on my the majority of my day anyway, you know. Um, but I think it's I don't know, it's just a real trippy time. I'm kind of feel like I'm in a movie or something at this point. I actually don't know how to approach it or what to think about it, honestly.
It's
But
kind of been the great equalizer for us all because you obviously have a major gig with a major artist, but in a way, this isn't great. It's no different than a club artist. Everybody's kind of out of work and looking for how they're going to
I
survive.
agree.
I don't know if Gaga, and I don't want to know if you guys get paid for not working. I know some big artists are paying their musicians for being off the road. Some can't afford it. There was just a big article in Rolling Stone about, you know, all the tech people who are just devastated by this, from the
Right.
mixers to the road
True, man.
lighting
Yeah.
people. So other than, you know, since you have a perspective from kind of the super pro level, is it just a matter of you're just trying to use this time to write and be ready when the virus starts to ebb, or do you have anything else you're doing?
You know, as far as my own music, I'm constantly working on that, you know, and it's kind of I don't know, I'm doing that at this moment like I would normally do, but in terms of like gigs and jobs like that, I think it does kind of, I don't know. For me, it was never my intention to just work for artists, you know, put my lives in their hands, you know.
Mhm.
Some of the people I play with are amazing, they're incredible people, but I understand that I am definitely as a higher person, that if there's no shows, there's no paycheck, if there's no, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
so, I don't know. I think I am constantly working on myself. Like, what ways can I, apart from all that, still make music and still take care of my family? You know, the whole thing. You know, it's eye opening, but it's also a path I kind of been on for a while. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know if that
And
makes
your
sense.
your band's called Knives, right?
My band is called Knives, and I have a couple other projects, and I have a production partner, and we just did a bunch of music for The Masked Singer, and we're just, you know, I'm constantly. I think at this point, being a musician, from what I've learned, is that you have to do everything. You gotta teach, you gotta do demos, you gotta know how to do production, you gotta be able to play various styles of music just to really survive and thrive. You know, it's a
Hmm.
constant juggling match. Whereas when I was
Right.
younger, I think when I started playing, it was just guitar, man. I'm about to just do this, you know. But at this point, I'm trying to learn how to do a bunch of things, man. I spend a lot of my time engineering. You know, it's just it's I don't know. There's just, I feel like this profession is very, you know, uncertain anyways. You know, and I think this at this time with this weird thing that's happening, I feel like even more uncertain.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
You know,
Keith had just brought up before you popped in, we had a little bit of a conversation about, you know, musicians who don't do what you're doing, you know, who kind of, well, I just want to create and I don't know about technology, or I don't know how to market myself. And
right?
we were just saying that, you know, maybe this is a good time to wake up and realize, as you've mentioned, you know, if you want to thrive as a musician, when was it ever different that you had to do a million things to make money? You know, whether it's teach or,
It's
you
true.
know,
I agree.
so, you know, I guess the lesson now is, man, you better get your business together.
I agree, man. And I talked to my friend the other day. We had a long conversation, and we were talking about just like even things like money management, time management, all those type of things. I think those I didn't. I'm not strong with that. You know, growing up, when I grew up, it's just, man, play music just and just go for it. Don't think about anything else. You know. Older I got, and you have kids, and you have like a life, and you have other things you got to take care of. Those things come into play heavily, and I feel like most musicians are. I don't know. I don't know. I would say the majority of musicians I know are not really thinking in those terms. You know, like, man, I need to find something as consistent as possible, and I need to set money aside. Maybe not live like I'm a rock star, but maybe, like, you know, just be prepared for the rainy day. You know. I don't know. It's
Well,
weird. I'm still a little bit shell shocked about all this. You know. I don't know. I don't know how to.
it's amazing to me that 2 months ago we were just doing what we were doing. This thing happened so fast. It's just
So fast,
not
man.
even
Right.
But kind of on the saving for a rainy day thing, maybe Matt or Keith can speak to this. I mean, in the North Bay area where I live around San Francisco, the live music scene has always been difficult. It's really hard for clubs to thrive. It's really hard for musicians to make any money in clubs that are struggling.
Yep.
Now, if a club can't have people in it for a couple of months, I don't know how many clubs are going to reopen to live music. Has anybody heard anything about the survival of the places we play in? Or
Man, I think about that. That stuff was like one of my first thoughts. I don't know. I don't know how that's possible to sustain and to stay open. And I don't know. That's Man. I don't know if anyone has answers for that. I mean, I'm very. I don't know. It definitely saddens me for sure. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know, man.
do you guys think things might be better in Los Angeles or New York, or do you think every club is screwed?
At this point, I think everywhere. I don't see if you can't have people in the venue, you can't sell liquor, you can't have bands come play. I mean, it's that snowball trickle down thing. I don't know, man. There has to.
I did see an article today where the landlord of this restaurant told the owner of the restaurant to don't worry about paying me rent, pay the employees. So people are shifting and they're doing things, and there's we're Americans, we like money, we like we're capitalists, that's kind of pretty standard for America. But I think a crisis like this, it really has the potential to bring the country together and get, because we forget empathy and compassion a lot. We just grind, we're out there grinding and hitting it hard, and we forget to care about all the people that serve us and all the people that do things for us. And like when you get that cup of coffee, think about the life story of the person giving you that cup of coffee. That's kind of that could be an intense story sometimes, if you're working at Starbucks, right? Like everybody is, struggling out here. But I think that if I could, appeal to people, if I could speak to everyone right now in the world, I would say now is the time to be as generous and empathetic towards each other as we possibly can be. And there's going to be people that are going to take advantage of it. There will be, but most people are not going to do that. And they're going to try to listen. They're going to try to stay off the streets and, behave themselves somewhat, and like, I don't think that I'm feeling too hopeless. And I honestly, I really think, whether or not you like President Trump or not, I think that he's doing what's necessary to bring our country together right now for at least this crisis, whether you like him and the other issues or whatever. And you know what? I worked for government for 20 years. It's easy to make mistakes. It's easy to screw up complicated stuff. It's easy to, I kind of look at it like, as long as we're coming together as a nation, as long as we're being compassionate and empathetic towards each other, as long as we're trying to do our best, this is kind of like a war. This is a war on our surviving as a nation, right? I mean, this is a big deal. This could totally tank our economy, right? Cause a big recession, and lots of people could go out of business. But I think compassion can keep that from happening.
No, I agree, man. 100%, man. I do. I think you have two ways to look at it. I think that's the way I'm definitely trying to look at it with some hope and some, belief in humanity and, definitely.
So what can we do for each other? Like, there's going to be a lot of artists that are going to see this. So, what do you guys think? What can we do as artists to help each other out? like, this is kind of cool. There's four musicians here, and we're all like talking to each other, right? Other people can do this, and if anybody's listening to this and you want to learn how to do this, I'll show you how to do it for free. If you're an artist, just message me on Facebook. I'll teach you how to do this, because, you know, like Keith was saying, like, sometimes I have a degree in IT management. You know, I worked on airplanes for 20 years in the military. I learned how to do a lot of stuff before I decided I wanted to be an artist. I just moved to LA like in September. So
Amazing.
yeah, so I'm kind of doing the second half of my life the way that most people do the first half of their life, you know?
That's all right. That's good.
But you know, I have a lot of experience in IT and in the internet and stuff like that. So if anybody needs help, you know, I'll help you. But what else can we do to help each other out? Michael, what do you think?
We got too many singers and guitar players. We need to get a bass player and a drummer on here right about now.
I know.
No offense, man. Keyboard players. You know, you can
play drums. I can play drums too. I'll help out.
Hey, look, right there.
There you go. Hey, if I could turn the computer around, you know.
Well,
they're V drums, but they work.
I think most drummers would be offended that I consider myself to be a drummer, but I just do it for the pocket drums, right?
Well, this wasn't my idea, but one of the things that I kind of promoted on my socials was that a woman, Shasta, who works for a radio station here in the Bay Area, said, you know, if you have a favorite music venue or you have a favorite club, maybe just buy a gift certificate from that venue to kind of give them some influx of cash until they can open up again. And I thought that was kind of a cool idea. Of course, not every club has them, but maybe you buy a T-shirt from the club. And I mean, this is just a Band-Aid. This isn't going to keep their staffs employed, but it just kind of shows that you're willing to support the venues that supported you while we could play at a time where there's nobody walking in the door.
Sure.
And then beyond that, I can just try to be a good citizen. You know, I'm going to put something out on my, you know, producers and musician page that if you're working at home and you want somebody to give you some feedback on your song, or you need something that I've written for guitar player, you know, or you need some knowledge that you don't have, I'm willing to send that stuff to you. You know, just because really that's all I can do. I'm just a cat who writes shit on paper, you know. So
I love that.
I can help by sharing the paper and sharing the knowledge. And if we're all sequestered in our house trying to figure out how to do stuff better, one of the things I've spent my life doing is helping musicians do stuff better. So I'm willing to be helpful in any way I can.
I love that, man. That was great.
You know, I think a really important thing for, you know, musicians, Americans, for everybody, is to always hope forward. You know, that's what keeps us going on everything that we do. And, you know, no disrespect to everything that's going on now and the struggle that we're in, but I think it's really important that we do look at this situation as temporary. And if you're going to, for me, if you can adapt the mentality of when this is over, I'm going to have all this new stuff prepared and ready to go. And for me, that's just my point of view. It's like, I'm going to use this time to hunker down and do all the things I couldn't do, that I would love to get that extra 10 hours a day that I don't have to do, and do it. And I know you got to carve a living at the same time, but somehow everyone's going to manage that. We always do. We do manage that. We just keep working at it, and the universe has a way of working out things. Things come along if you just have your mind open. You know, some door will open, and you'll. All right, that saved me this week. Awesome. But if you could just keep your mind forward, you know, from my point of view, and just picture coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And how much better you're gonna be when you get out of the tunnel, and just be like Rocky Balboa and like just go down in there and just run up and down the steps in the rain until the rain ends. I think you know, I think you'll be a lot more productive and do
I think
do a lot more better things for yourself.
As musicians, you know, we put out stuff that makes people happy.
Yeah.
So if we come out of this and don't work on our craft and don't come out with music that's going to make people happy or sounds that are going to make people happy, if we're just going to surrender to despair and freeze and not do anything, then we're not being the musicians we should be. You know, our job is to make people happy. Yeah, we want to make some money out of that, but basically, you know, we're not doing anything but putting stuff out in the world that people can absorb and hopefully find some joy in. So, yeah, I agree with Keith. It would be a bummer if I just sat around in my little room and went, I'm worried about buying toilet paper. I can't write a song, or I'm not going to work on my chops, or I'm too sick right now. I mean,
Sure.
That would be devastatingly horrific waste of time, and I would be a crap musician to let my fear stop me from being productive. You know.
You know, it's crazy too, man. I think about even just like mine or my friends or people I know, their journey as an artist. You're so familiar with struggle. That is a part of being an artist, man. I feel like, man, this is the people that are probably best suited for this period in time are artists. Like, I know what it's like just to have, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like to be productive in this time is probably easier for a musician or a artist or like, I think it's almost like, I agree that you come out with something positive and uplifting for sure. And I feel like we're definitely kind of made for that in a way. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, man, I don't know. I feel like I've spent so many hours in my room just working on music and playing that this is like what I would be doing kind of anyway. You know what I mean?
Tim, you said some interesting stuff earlier. You were saying that, you know, you didn't picture, you know, life being exactly what it is sometimes, and working for a lot of, you know, other bigger, you know, people who've been successful with major labels and stuff who can afford these giant tours. That wasn't necessarily what you expected. And for you, you know, for me, a light goes on right away. I mean, wow, you know, well, maybe Tim's really going to push his own music right now. And in this interim, he's just going to not be distracted by all these, you know, jobs that are on the table. I've got to go do this many flyouts this month, and it's going to and take care of my family and everything else. Maybe you'll actually put, you know, a bunch of days work into yourself and your own art that you wanted to do. So in a way, you might come out of this whole thing going, wow, that was a godsend. You know, I never would have wrote this album if this didn't happen.
This right here, what we're doing right now, this is just phase one of what I'm doing with the time. This is my beginning, and I'm going to be everywhere, all over the internet. So like, I'm going to be doing these shows on a regular basis, bringing artists in, talking to them like daily. I'm going to be live streaming daily. I'm going to be jamming. I got my studio right here. Check it out. Da-da-da. You know, I'm going to be recording my album, my first album, and getting that done. And
couldn't tell what that was, but it didn't look like a Studer.
Wait, hang on. A studio.
No, a Studer.
Let's see. Yeah, there we go. There's the studio. So yeah, I'm good. I'm a real musician.
Thanks for putting it together too, Matt. I mean, we definitely appreciate. You know, you are definitely striking out for you know, taking one for the team here to get us together. And like, you know, like Tim was saying too, it's like, you know, how many times have we been in the studio working on a song and we didn't get paid for that? We've kind of always deferred our return. Always. You know, if I work on a song 6 hours in the studio, I made zero.
Yep.
I could sell that song. So right. Tim, you're right. It's like, you know, we're used to working for deferred compensation, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's been the majority
of
my
life. But you know what? I study a lot on business and organization, and I used to run a nuclear command post for the military. So like, wow. I know a few things about organization, and so this is what I would suggest artists out there. Okay.
And don't piss off Matt.
Yeah, I know people. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I do know people, but I wouldn't. They're good people. So make a list. Okay, here's what you do. If you don't know where to start, get yourself a piece of paper and you do what's called a brain dump. and you write down all the stuff that you have not been doing, like website, taxes, get your computer set up for live streaming, newsletter for the fans, and just write down everything that you're trying to do, and just don't organize it, don't do anything. And then when you get that done, and you just write until you just probably pieces of paper, it could take you that long. You may have all kinds of stuff. So then you go and you set that aside, and you get another piece of paper, and you start writing these things down in A, B, and C priorities. A is something that you need to do like yesterday. B is something that you should do soon, within a week. And C is something that you can do whenever you got time, right? Take that list that you just made, put them in A, B, and C priority. Okay, so now you've got a list of things to do. Then you go to your A priorities, and you number them from 1 to however many they are in priorities. And then you do not do anything on that list except for the A priorities, right? You will make progress. You will figure it out. You will get things done, and you will be productive. That's just one little tip that I could say is a way to kind of get started. And if you run into technical difficulties, what you do is you put a star by it, and you make that a task. And you say, like, I need to call Bob, who knows about this, or Matt, call Matt. I'll give you guys my phone number, but most of you guys have it. But if I get too many phone calls, I will tell you this, and I haven't really talked about this publicly. I was driving around Ubering LA when I first moved here, and I was meeting all these cool people, and I met a guy in my car who I came here to start a thing called an influencer label. And basically it's like a record label without the records, because nobody cares about records anymore, right? So
in the US.
Yeah, in the US. In the US. I'm not saying
I'm gonna have to
we care about them.
So I think that Keith is gonna be in the middle now.
Oh, so, wow, really?
Yeah. So thank you, Matt. Sorry to have to pop out. Tim, it's great meeting you virtually.
That's cool, Mike.
And
you can come back if you want to.
All right. Good luck.
We gotta catch up, Michael.
Okay. Well, we each contact stuff. All right. Awesome, Matt. Thanks for putting this together. Hope there's more. Take care, you guys.
All right, guys.
Okay.
See you, Mike.
Bye.
All right. All right. I get Mike out of here. There we go.
Wow, he was right. Did wind up in the middle.
Now who's the diva?
All
right. Your hair looks. All right.
I don't know. This is just it. I know it's nighttime, but it does. I do have kind of that just woke up look, but I didn't. I've been awake all day. It's been rough. Anyway.
Well, anyway, so I just think that what was I talking about?
You were talking. You were post listing. You kind of did the list. You had the A group, the B group, and the C group, and then if you run into technical difficulties on one of the A's.
Yeah. So I'm starting an influencer label, and what it is it's basically a record label that has a marketing department, a sales department, a legal department, everything a record label would have, except I'm not trying to sell records. I'm not trying to do distribution, right? And so the reason I'm doing it is because I want one for me, and I don't want to go to somebody else and get it from them. And so I'm creating a team around myself to promote my music, my show, all the things that I'm doing, and to grow my own influence. And then the people that are in the influencer label will also be growing their own influence as well. And so I got a guy in my Uber to fund it. Like we're gonna hire staff. Like it's super amazing, cool. Man.
Cool.
Yeah. So I mean, we're in. Yeah, I know. I love LA, right? And I could tell you guys more about that later, but until it happens, you don't want to jinx it too much.
Well, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, so maybe I will have the ability to help out you guys in that capacity even more so. I don't know, but for now, if anybody needs anything, just message me and I'll help out the best I can. I know we're all struggling in our own ways, and I just want to help you guys out. And
likewise, man.
So,
I feel like
I gotcha.
We'll stick together, man. I think at the end of the day, everybody will eventually come together, but I think musicians, artists, everybody. Like we have a shared experience, and that's our community, man. We know what that feels like and what's happening right now, and I think we all gonna stick together in whatever ways we can and help in whatever ways we can. I've been thinking about it a lot lately in the last couple of days, like what can I possibly do? Because I'm definitely trying to take care of myself and my family, but then I need to
Yeah.
think outside of that. How can I help? My friends, or just the community in a whole. How can I do something that's gonna relieve the strain of this? You know what I mean?
Well, it's a
So
Well,
hard one. It's a hard one, bro. I mean,
it's a hard one, right?
it goes against our instincts. You want to
It
help,
does.
but you can't hug people. You don't even want to look towards them when you're talking. If you do, you're
right.
putting them in danger, or possibly, you're
Yeah.
going against protocol, which is the right protocol. So it's really
Very
it's a
strange,
weird
man.
sort of physical oxymoron thing going on there, where you can't like be neighborly in the way we were brought up to be neighborly.
But you know what I do say, man? I'm very thankful that, with all the struggle, because I think about my life doing music, man, like the struggles, and like I feel like I'm thankful at this time because, man, I do have something that brings me a lot of joy. Whether when I make something or play my guitar or do anything, or listen to my daughter play guitar, man, I have like this just love for music that I think can carry me through any difficulty. You know what I mean? And I'm very thankful for that. And I really feel empathy for people who don't have that outlet. You know what I mean? It is
Yeah, I
overwhelming
do
at
know what you
times,
mean. I do know
and
what you
it
mean.
makes me make terrible decisions the majority of the time. But I think at this point in time, I feel very thankful. I'm like, oh man, I'm glad I can just sit, play, and just like really, it's. I'm very thankful. That's all I can say. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing about, I mean, and that goes with life in general. It might not be music. It could be a sport or
It could
something
be.
that you're really, really deeply connected to.
I love it. Yeah.
And when you go do your go-to thing, that is it's really what you're made of. It still feels the same, whether the
Yeah.
world is falling apart or not.
You're right.
That's still, the quality of that does not change. That still feels the same, and it grips you in the same way, and it brings you to the same point. And you know, it's tough to, I don't understand. I've always felt that way. So people that are strictly, there's nothing wrong with chasing the almighty dollar, and you got to do that. But people that are strictly working just to work, and who aren't working in their mojo, man, in that, those are the people I think have the toughest time with this, regardless of what they do.
I think so,
Because
man.
they're gonna sit at home or try to get another job, and what do they do to really feel?
Yep.
You really feel connected. You can feel connected, like you said, in a second. Pick up the guitar, do your thing.
You're right there.
And you're
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah.
So in a way, we're talking about the problems that we're having as musicians and entertainment industry people, but in a way, we have we have a better situation than certain types of people out there.
I think so. That's what I mean. I think we're built for this in a way because of the daring nature of someone to become an artist or musician is kind of throwing everything to the wind, just in and of itself. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
true that.
And then you have something that you love and that you've struggled with, that you've enjoyed life with. Like it's this, and it's trippy just like to watch the news and all that shit, but it's not too jarring in the terms of my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
My day-to-day life is basically this. I work on songs, I play music, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm kind of a recluse the majority of the time.
We're like
apart from
gamers.
playing live.
Yeah.
Apart from playing live. But like really that's just like in my mind, I'm just in here by myself playing music. You know what I mean? It's trippy, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's why we do what we do. Matt was given some instruction earlier on how to organize your life and your tasks and what you should get on, I think guys like you and me, you know, we've been at that table a million times.
Yeah.
And you know, you're going through that list, and one of the things on the list is, oh man, I need to work on those songs. And as soon as you pick up one of the songs, you know, you forgot the rest of the list and it went away. Then you try to write the list on a giant poster board on the wall, so it's in front of your face and you can't miss it when you get up.
It's
And
true.
somehow that goes away too.
Yep.
I got an idea. You gave me an idea. What if we had an accountability group, like a coalition of musicians?
That'd be great.
And we could call it the hard stuff, and it could be like, it's like a work group where we could meet together somewhere, and like at a library or somewhere where we could make phone calls or whatever we got to do, and we just like, we get our lists and we just go freaking hammer those lists and be like, no, put your guitar down now. You know, like we hold each other accountable, and we get through all the sucky stuff that nobody wants to do.
Well, you know
like,
what? That's why a lot of artists have to be in bands, because if they're not in bands, they're never going to organize shit. And if they have the other band there pushing them, the other members pushing them to do stuff, that's what actually gets stuff done. You know, so that's perfect. That's we work in groups, man. We work the best in groups. And if it's our group, what's it called again, Tim? The hard way. The hard stuff. That's good.
Yeah, it's kind of like an alcohol reference, except it's like, it's a coalition of musicians that, hey, maybe we just invented something here. See, we're being artistic, and we just did work. We can feel like we did work.
Well, you know, even though Michael left early, I'm gonna have to insist that, you know, he's an equal partner in this.
Okay. All right. Cool.
My first motion.
I don't know what would that be something that would be helpful to artists?
I think it would.
What if we had like a meetup, like where like once a week on a day that most artists have available, somewhere that has, you know, a good work area, and then we could even help each other out with you know us though. Somebody bring alcohol and then it would just turn into a bunch of artists hanging out.
We probably meet. I mean,
well, there's no bar that we can meet at.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's true. We can't do that right now, but we can do it here. So you could use Google Hangouts. That's another option. I know a lot of tech solutions we could use.
I think a lot of those things are good, man. Especially like I think about, you know, my where the age I'm at now. I'm thinking, okay, man, you have like two options. You keep pushing, keep kind of like in a almost like the typical selfish kind of way, you know, keep pushing. But I think part of it, you have to go back and you have to like help and like really engage and involve other people in your journey, man. That is such a huge thing. I remember coming up, I had older guys that were like, would call me like, man, are you good? Like, and I'd be like, man, I don't know what's happening with this. And they'd be like, oh man, this is what you should be doing. Or, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's regardless of where we are in age or whatever, but I think that's good for any artist, man. Like this accountability, but also just fuck, man, this shit is really hard sometimes. You know what I mean? I've had like great highs, terrible lows, man. Like it's a real trippy thing because to be like in my experience to be a musician, man, I've had some amazing things happen in my life and some really shitty things. Like the difference is so vast. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
So
big time.
I think sometimes I can't really like figure it out, but I think it's good to have a group of people who can help you get through it. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing but good. I don't think anything but good comes from that. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well,
You know?
let's make a date and get it started.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so now here's my question. Let's say that is something that we could do at least during the COVID-19 crisis, right?
Sure.
Let's just say that's how it would get started. We could meet online, like using Google Hangouts. I think you can have like 10 people in there, or you could do a Zoom room, and just kind of make it where everybody is kind of working and they're on video, but they're muted. And then if you have questions, you put questions in the thing for the group, and people help you like, hey man, I'm trying to get my this contract done, or I'm trying to get my taxes done. Can somebody help me with this? And then we'll have like experts and people there that can like do that, you know, like, hey, yeah, I know a guy, let me bring him in here. And, you know, that kind of thing. But how do you get an artist to commit to something like that? Because as much as we say we want to do it, when it's time to say like, hey, yeah, come on over to the group. Oh man, I gotta, you know, do this or I gotta do that. I mean, like, it's kind of like herding cats sometimes. Artists.
Well, yeah, everyone's got a schedule, but
Yeah.
you know,
And artists are not the most, you know, reliable. I'm talking about myself.
come on.
I'm talking about my own self, you know. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I think it's good that it's available. It don't have to be like everybody all at one time, all the time. But I think the availability of it, because it is hard, man. I think this life that all of us have chosen is, or that's chosen us, is not easy all the time. Sometimes it's really fucking hard. Sometimes it's not hard, but it's, man, I need to offer my experience of what not to do or what to do. You know what I mean? Like it's that's, man, the thing that we do is communication. You know, we communicate through music, but we can communicate through our experiences as musicians as well. You know, that's a big part of it. I think that's one of the weird things about music is that there's not like you look at a lot of like things you have like apprenticeship and things like that. I feel like with us, that's not really a thing. You know what I mean? It's just like something that you love and you take all the chances, you do it and you just continue to do it.
We're like pirates.
Yeah. You learn, you make mistakes, you learn, you make more mistakes. And it's just like it's like weird. It's like the Wild West kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like living like a fucking pirate for real.
Well, yeah. You know, you have to be comfortable with a hippie mindset to do what we do. Meaning, you know, there is no, you go to this school and then you climb up through this ladder to become this stature in the industry. It really doesn't work that way. You know, all of us have gotten where we are by some random experience that was just, you know, a 1 in a million thing that just happened to do this and that happened. And
I agree. 100%.
You know, and that's how your trail is, and it's kind of a broken road. A lot of people aren't comfortable with that, but you know, a lot of times, like you said, you know, you get a little frustrated with certain struggles that happen because of that. But human nature is the grass is always greener. You know, you're always thinking about, wow, what if I did that? And then if you were doing that, you'd be hating it and you'd be wishing you were doing this. So
trust me, man. I think about that sometimes. I see like family members like we're around the same age or something. Like, man, that dude, everything is consistent. He's man, and I'm like, but fuck that.
Yeah, dude, I did the military for 20 years, and it's like when I got out of there and I started, you know, working on the music thing and everything. I'm like, man, there's no way I could ever go back to a regular job. I could never do it. It's too much. Like, it's too fulfilling to me. It's too, you know.
This is your life, dude. You only get one. I'm 45 right now. I only get 145. I only get 146. I only get 140. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is all that you get from this. You know what I mean? Who knows what's after? So you might as well fucking do something that you really love. That's
it, man. This is,
and take the shots. Take the punches in the face and the stomach. And then enjoy the great times. Like, I think just do it all to the full degree. You know what I mean? So I'm all for it.
Dude, I'm going to turn 50 in less than 6 months, and I don't even care. I feel like I'm 30 years old right now. And
me too, man, I'm ramping up. I just started another one. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Right. I'm just like, fuck it, let's go.
Well, guys, when's our first Google Hangout? Or,
I mean, we can do it. We can talk offline about it. We'll plan it, but
yeah, hit me.
Yeah, we'll figure it out and
yeah, start a group. Start a group. You got our numbers. Start a group text or a group something.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. let's.
This was fun, man.
Yeah, man. Let's. We're kind of at an hour and 4 minutes right now, so we'll.
I know my drink is out too, so I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we got.
I was having the same problem there. Yeah.
So yeah, my La Croix is empty right now. So.
Oh man.
Yeah. But I had to give up that for Lent, but I drank all the beer in Germany when I was in the military.
You gave up La Croix for Lent?
No, I gave up the alcohol.
Oh. Well,
yeah,
I'm
free for the first time in my life, but not that I don't miss it a little bit, but
that's all right,
it's
man.
cool.
I appreciate it, man. That's good, man.
There'll come a time soon when you don't miss it at all.
That's right. So let me close this up. Okay, so I'm Matt Gibson, Kingdom of Rock podcast. You can check it out at www.kingdomofrock.com. We talk about the music business, how to make it in the music business, how to do marketing as an artist, how to, we just interview people about, basically what I want to know. That's what I do is I interview people and I ask them questions about what I want to know on the podcast. So, but if I need to know it, you probably need to know it too as an artist, right? And I am working on my record, and hopefully I'll be releasing something by the end of this month because I promised my friend Corey that I would. So, Keith, go. What do you got?
Yes, sir. It was cool to be here. I promise I'll have better lighting next time. I really wasn't aware until the last minute that this was going to happen. And this computer just happened to be here, and I said, yeah, let's go for it and get online with Matt. He's a cool guy. What's that? Yeah, I'm in the valley.
Oh, where at?
I'm out in Woodland Hills.
Nice, man. I'm in the valley. I'm like Valley Village.
I'm in Pedro.
Where at?
There.
I'm in San Pedro.
Okay, you're a little bit away.
Yeah, I live down on
the fish market, bro. Oh my
God.
Let's
do it. That's where we're gonna meet. The fish market.
I'm a drunk mess if I go down there though, bro.
All right, we'll go out on the boat.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tim, take it away. What do you got?
Oh yeah, man.
Did you have anything else, Keith? Are you good?
Say it again.
Oh, go ahead, Tim. Take it away.
No, I'm like, yeah, man. Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. It's all love, man. I'm happy to be here, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. I love hanging out with other artists. All right, guys, so we're going to wrap it up, and stay tuned. We're going to do a lot of these here during the COVID-19 outbreak. Stay safe out there. Take care of your neighbors, and for the love of God, get organized and don't sit around and watch Netflix the whole time. You're going to hate yourself if you do that.
Don't do it.
You can watch it a little bit, just not too much.
Not much.
All right.
Peace.
Cool. All right, peace, guys.
All right.
See you.